What the heck? Katie! What the heck? It came? Oh my gosh, you're watching Gerald Undone? Why did you get a Sony instead of a Nikon?
Because it's lighter and it looks cooler.
Yeah.
Look at it.
All right. Hang on a second. Let me back up and explain a few things. Nearly a year ago, I sold Katie's camera to buy a new lens. I know, selfish. I totally agree. There's no good justification for my behavior. However, if you do need a better explanation of why I did such a silly thing, I made a video about it 6 months ago, and I'll link that at the end of this video. Katie has been by my side on nearly every outing, and recently, she has been showing a keen interest in taking pictures again.
Oh wait, there we go. And I just want to make it look like how it looks when I look at it.
However, I've done some equipment consolidation, and we're currently down to one telephoto lens that stays mounted to the recently acquired Nikon Z9. I have another lens on order, and that means this 500mm will likely end up on the shelf for a while. I know what you're thinking. Why not just give Katie one of your old Nikons with that 500 PF? Well, that's a great question. But first, let's get back to Katie and her new Sony.
Remember when we saw Erin, we were looking at the great gray owls and she was there and she had one like this? Was this exactly like hers? And I asked her if I could hold it and I was like, yes.
Every time I sift through footage from our trips, I find some cool footage that Katie has taken. For instance, this great gray owl footage was taken with a 100mm lens.
Oh crap.
Yeah, maybe not the most compelling footage, but imagine if she had a better lens. And speaking of captivating footage, for some reason Katie likes to document the current condition of her feet. But I digress. I've been prying into Katie's psyche lately to see if she would sincerely be interested in getting back into the bird photography game.
You're probably right. It's still pretty. You and that camera. Love it.
Yeah, I look pretty cool.
Yeah, you look pretty cool.
With this camera.
For sure.
Is she really interested in carrying around a big camera instead of being relegated to B-roll and iPhone footage? I have to say, she takes some epic slow-motion B-roll. There is one small problem, though. There may still yet be a steep learning curve.
Like the exposure, which is also shutter speed. The aperture, which is also light, I think. Light ISO, which I don't know what that is, and it's aggravating. So I'm still working on just exposure, right? Here comes the sun, doo-ba-doo-boo.
So I did what any loving partner would do. I gave Katie the Nikon Z9 for the day to see how she'd react to this new technology. And let me just say, I'm very impressed with some of the footage she got and loved that she just dove right in.
This way, dude.
The question I need answered is whether the Nikon, and specifically the 500 PF, is right for Katie. And the biggest question, well, what does Katie want?
Nobody else is gonna find that as delightful as I just did. That little duck sliding on the ice and then dropping off into the water, so cute. It was adorable, but I don't know if anybody else is gonna. I sure enjoyed it. I think I was hitting the display button instead of the autofocus a couple of times.
That's okay. You're just learning it.
Great blue here and still right there.
Let's be real, this camera technology can be intimidating. Additionally, if things aren't exactly working the way you expect, it can suck the joy right out of your trip.
Oh wow.
This is the longest I've ever seen a coyote.
Luckily, Katie was picking it up quick, like riding a bike.
When it goes click, 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 how many pictures did it take?
As much as 20 frames per second. What do you think, though? What do you think using it?
I
love it.
Huh?
I love it.
Is that one too heavy?
Yeah. This seems pretty easy. Like, all I have to do is push that AF button to get things into focus and then push this.
Yeah.
And then if the light's off, just use that dial and that's pretty much it.
There you go.
Right?
Yeah.
Yep, she has it all figured out. Get the exposure right and make sure it's in focus. It's that easy. So back to the question, why not just give Katie the old Nikon Z6ii and slap that 500mm on it? Alright, imagine if you're me for a second. You just spent way too much money on this sparkly new Z9 and you've openly expressed your disdain for the Z6 autofocus system. So what now? Put that Z6 in Katie's hand and watch her struggle with it and possibly lose interest? One thing this Z9 has taught me over the last month is that things don't have to be so hard. Which leads us to Sony. The Sony A7IV comes with the same processor and autofocus system as the A1. Let's be honest, the Sony autofocus system is fantastic and it just makes things easier. But enough from me, let's get Katie's
Tell me about what
thoughts.
you've been photographing.
That is two great greyhounds right over there.
Yeah. What's it feel like shooting the camera again?
Pretty good. I mean, this one's pretty heavy.
Yeah. But does it kind of get you excited about being able to shoot again?
Yeah, I'm excited about getting the Sony because it's going to be lighter.
What do you like about the Z9?
It's easy because you only have to worry about a couple of buttons like hold down autofocus and push the... I mean, look, these videos are going to make me seem so dumb, but there's just so... Look at how many buttons are on here, okay? But it's such a nice camera.
Yeah. I just felt like you've been dropping some hints, like, does this... Like, you'll pick up this camera that I'm holding right now that's a 70mm, and you say things like, can I take pictures with birds with this? And the answer, of course, is no, because it's too small.
Yeah, because sometimes when you're like, you stay in one place and film the Great Gray Owls, for example, for like 3 hours, I get bored and I'm like, I'm gonna go explore other places, and then I'll see like 3 or 4 other birds and I'm like, I could be taking pictures of them.
Here's the deal. Katie and I have been discussing this camera for a long time now.
And you kept talking about how awesome Sony is, so we're gonna see. We're gonna see. We're gonna see how awesome it is.
And frankly, deciding which camera to buy is not always an easy decision. So many factors come into play. What's the budget? What will you be using it for? And more importantly, what does Gerald Undone think about it? In all seriousness, the A7IV makes sense for Katie. 33 megapixels, fast autofocus system, 4K video, and like she said from the beginning, it's lighter and it looks cooler. But now for my favorite part, watching Katie unbox her new camera. Enjoy, and thanks for watching.
It's cold outside. Oh, whoops. There it is. So put it in, and then put this. So we're gonna put this in here, and then this needs to go in here.